Had you heard about Passchendaele at this point? You knew what it was going to be like?
No, we didn't know what it was going to like. But from the fellows that had been in the Ypres in 1915 and 16, we didn't like going. But we marched up most of the way. We were met with buses, and we were taken on, I suppose, the last 40 or 50 kilometers, we were taken up by bus. And we got up to a place called Flamantinge. We were billeted there. Then eventually we moved on up into Passchendaele. Our company never got into the line Passchendaele, that is, as a company. At Passchendaele, we did a lot of working parties up there. They were building a plank road up towards as far as they could, and eventually they built this plank road on through to the Menin Road. And we did a lot of working parties and fatigue parties around there. And when the first and second division went over at Passchendaele, our company was detailed as stretcher bearers for the 3rd Battalion.
For the 3rd Battalion?
For the 3rd Battalion, yes. And see, they sent them in as a full battalion, but they had to have stretcher bearers because casualties were very heavy up there. So I don't know how that worked out, but our company got detailed as stretcher bearers. And we won one stretcher to 4 men. And we went on up. They kicked off early in the morning, and about 8 o'clock we were sent in to go up and pick up the wounded. Well, the commanding officer of the 3rd Battalion, he wouldn't allow us to go on any farther. He says, there's no use. He says, you'll never get them. And he says, you'll never be able to get them out. The mud and the water up there was terrific. By the time we got as far as we did, we were all soaking wet. The shell holes were so close together, and every one was full of water. See, that was low-lying country up there, and the canals and the dikes and that up there, you know, had all been cut, you see, and it overflowed into, the water overflowed into the low country. And consequently, every shell hole up there, some shell holes up there, you could get out and paddle around in a canoe in them. And they were quite big. You could get drowned up there quite easy if you happened to fall into them at nighttime. And this commanding officer of the 3rd Battalion wouldn't allow us to go on up, not till after dark. So we went up after dark. We went up, we got up to the front line, and we got, they had quite a few wounded up around in there. But the 4 of us, we brought out 1 wounded man. And we had an awful job getting them out. You see, you know, everything's pitch black. And there was still lots of jerrys around in those shell holes and that, you see, that had been missed. And they were taking pot shots at you from the shell holes.
Sure. Wallace, how long would it take you to bring a man out from this front line? This was a terrible, terrible, long, hard, difficult trip. 4 men on a stretcher. How long would it take you to bring? Well,
we'd already go about 20 feet, and we had to put the stretcher down and take a rest. Mm-hmm. It was, you see, the mud was knee deep up there, probably. Yeah. And first one guy had slipped into a shell hole, and then somebody else with the. So one of the man ever stayed on the stretcher because he hung on both sides of the stretcher. He was wounded in the leg. But that man really stuck it. I don't know who he was or what his name was. I might have known at the time. He had a hard job hanging on the stretcher because there was one or other of us slipping into a shell hole. And it took us, I don't know now what time it was, but we got him out by daylight. Just by the time we got down to the dressing station on the plank road there, it was daylight. And we went up after him. We started up about 8 o'clock at night. It took so long to get up in there. And the tapes that the 3rd Battalion laid tapes, you see,
Sure where they were.
Yes. But the tapes had been blown away. Well, you'd come to the end of the tape. Well, you had to go and find the other end. Somebody had to get out and scout around and find out where the other end of it was. It took us a long time to get up there, but we got there. And as I say, we got this one man. We brought him out. But there was lots of other men brought out too, you know.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
But that's just what the four of us did. And we were all night getting that one man out. And I'm telling you, we were all in. Well, a fella had he had 7 francs, and he wanted us to have it between the four of us. He says, you can buy something or other, he says, if it's only chocolate bars. So we told him to keep the 7 francs. He said, you can buy chocolate bars when you get in the hospital. You'll be able to, you'll need a little money when you're in the hospital. Because I told him, I says, I just come back from the hospital a little while ago, and I says, if you're in the hospital and got no money, I says, it's not so nice either. They won't pay you, you know, while you're in the hospital.